Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a little bit of technical analysis on Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency markets, and more specifically, we're also going to be talking about some news coming out of the United States state of Wyoming. Bitcoin in Wyoming and cryptocurrencies are now legal tender, and from now on, well, not from now on, but from 60 days from this going into effect on March the 1st, banks will be required to provide custodial services for digital assets, which is very interesting. We're going to be talking about this. This is a big step for adoption of cryptocurrency, and it's a major movement forward for the cryptocurrency industry as a whole. It's a big day. I'm very happy about this, and we're going to be talking about it later on in today's video. So if you guys enjoyed today's video, definitely consider dropping a like and hitting that subscribe button. But without much further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. Bitcoin is currently trading around $3,436.11 and some change. And as we've seen over the last couple of days, Bitcoin has mostly been trading sideways with a slight upwards tint to it. It's been moving to the upside a little bit, and we've seen that Bitcoin has been moving upwards in this falling wedge pattern that Bitcoin has been in here over the last couple of days. Now, for the last couple of days, I've been talking about this falling wedge and talking about how I was more than likely expecting it to break bullish, and I said in today's video that I was going to talk about how it was going to break bearish. But at the moment, it looks like Bitcoin's about to break a bullish, so I'm going to go ahead and not talk about that. We're going to talk about the pattern, and we're also going to talk about this news, because there's a big thing that I want to talk about in relation to this news. But for the time being, anyway, Bitcoin is up here testing this downtrend of resistance in the falling wedge. There's a good chance that Bitcoin breaks out of this in the next 6 to 12 hours. It's possible that it breaks bullish out of it before this video even goes live. Hopefully not, but we'll see what happens there. This is definitely a nice little interesting position. If Bitcoin does bounce here and get resistance and start moving back down towards the support level, I will definitely make that bearish case scenario. But for now, I'm not sure how useful it's going to be. Anyway, let's go ahead and do the crypto market recap, and we'll jump back on into Bitcoin. Across all exchanges, Bitcoin is currently trading around $3,500, up 0.17% on the day. The majority of the cryptocurrency market in the top 10 is green anyway. We see a couple of losers like Tron and Stellar. But if we sort by change over the last 24 hours, we're going to see Everest, Electroneum, Aurora, and Nexo are up in the double-digit green, and the market is mostly split. We see one double-digit losers in ODIM, and that's about all she wrote. If you guys are interested, feel free to come here to CoinMarketCap and do your own research. But we're going to move back on into the chart here. Like I said, Bitcoin currently finds itself in this falling wedge pattern, which typically does break bullish. Now, I've talked about this a lot in a previous video, so this video is mostly going to be dedicated to news, but I do want to talk about a couple of things. And a couple of the things I want to talk about have to do with the way that Bitcoin is moving up here over the last couple of hours, and the fact that it is sitting right here against this level of resistance. I very much like to see that Bitcoin is right up here against this level of resistance. We've seen this happen a couple times now. As you can see, we came up here once, and we started falling off over the last 24 hours or so, and ever since then, we've come up there again and are testing it again at this very moment. Now, Bitcoin's moving down over the last couple of hours, but that is not necessarily indicative of a rejection yet. We haven't seen I was about to make a joke that I made in the old video. We haven't really seen a proper rejection in the for Bitcoin in a very big way yet, so there's definitely a chance that we're going to break through this. If we take a look at our oscillators out here on the daily chart, maybe we can get some good information. One thing I do want to point out has to do with the MACD. As I talked about in a previous video, if Bitcoin does break out here and Bitcoin does actually get above that downtrend of resistance, a lot of dominoes are going to fall into a lot of bullish price action. We're going to see a bullish MACD cross. As you can see, the MACD line's already curving up, and likely we're going to see a bullish MACD cross in the next 2 days, just about no matter what Bitcoin does. Not only that, the stochastic RSI is starting to go up, which you may think is bearish, but since the stochastic RSI is below 50 at the moment, it moving up is actually kind of a bullish momentum indicator. So you can read stochastic RSI similar to that, and to a lesser extent, you can also read RSI like that. Interesting little thing that I wanted to point out there. Not a whole lot more that I want to talk about here, guys. It's really just a waiting game to see which way this is going to break out here. Is Bitcoin going to break bullish? Is it going to break bearish? Well, we're going to find out. Time is going to tell. I can go into all the technicals on this, but I really want to talk about this Wyoming bill, because Wyoming has been a bastion for cryptocurrencies for quite a while. If you guys have been following the cryptocurrency markets, the cryptocurrency industry, the blockchain industry, blockchain and cryptocurrency news for a year or so, you'll probably recognize the name Wyoming, because Wyoming has very often been the topic of the topic of discussion in the cryptocurrency space, because their legislator is always talking about things relating to Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. And finally, we've had something like that happen. So let's go ahead and start reading from this article. This is on EthereumWorldNews.com. Feel free to come read this article on all the way through on your own. I'm gonna kind of jump around in it. Anyway, Bitcoin BTC cryptocurrency in the midst of an uneventful week for cryptocurrency. I completely disagree with that, because we had the Bitcoin ETF refiled. Anyway, with coin prices still hovering at their lowest point of the year, the state of Wyoming is nearing the transition period to officially recognizing cryptocurrency as a legal form of Tinder. Now, guys, we've seen this kind of thing happen in other countries around the world. We've seen things like the Petro in Venezuela coming into effect. We've seen a lot of things going on, but the fact that a U.S. state is now doing this is very, very interesting indeed. According to a new bill, which was first presented January 18, 2019, and passed January 31st, just a couple of days ago, the Cowboy State will begin to recognize all forms of cryptocurrency under the same regulations and attributions as that of fiat money. While the bill was recognized with relatively little fanfare, it may be looked upon in the timeline of cryptocurrency evolution as a more landmark event, and I couldn't agree more. Because what we're going to need to see for Bitcoin to go on a bull run and for the market to continue to develop and for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies to reach that global adoption that we all want is we want several different things to increase. We want the technological development of the cryptocurrency space to increase. We want the regulatory clarity of the space to increase in regards to the way the governments are portraying this, and this is part of that. We also want the adoption to increase, and obviously this is a big thing for adoption because now just about everybody in Wyoming not necessarily is going to know what cryptocurrency is, but they have the opportunity to be exposed to cryptocurrency because of what we're about to talk about with the banks. Anyway, despite countries around the globe and even other U.S. states being conflicted over how to classify and regulate cryptocurrencies, Wyoming took the initiative in handling the growing landscape of tokenized and digital assets. According to the new bill, crypto assets will fall into one of three categories moving forward: digital consumer assets, digital securities, and virtual currencies. So as you can see, we're not just talking about Bitcoin here. Despite the semantic discrepancy, all three of the categories have been defined by the state as intangible personal property, effectively putting cryptocurrency on the same platform as the United States dollar and other forms of fiat. That's a big sentence. Let's read that again. Effectively putting cryptocurrency on the same platform as the United States dollar and other forms of fiat. I'm just going to let that one stand there. I think you guys understand on your own how important that is. In addition to decreeing cryptocurrency an official form of money, the bill has strong implications for Wyoming banks, requiring that they provide custodial services for cryptos and other digital assets within 60 days of going into effect, scheduled for March 1st, 2019. Now, that's a really interesting one. Let's read this quote here. Banks will provide custodial services for digital assets consistent with this section upon providing 60 days written notice to the commissioner. That is a big deal because banks, this means basically that every single bank in Wyoming is going to be forced to adopt cryptocurrency. And if I'm not mistaken, this is not just talking about banks that only operate within the state. This is talking about every single bank within the state. If you have a bank in the state, then they have to actually be able to provide custodial services. And there are a lot of big names that have banks in Wyoming, of course, because many big name banks have banks literally everywhere because they are worth hundreds of billions of dollars. So the fact of the matter is that every single bank that has a branch in Wyoming is going to have to be providing custodial services for digital assets, which means some of these banks that perhaps didn't know a whole lot about cryptocurrency, or perhaps they hadn't even researched into it, perhaps their R&D department had other things to do, whatever the case may be, they're now by law going to be required to start working on custodial services for digital assets, and that's going to open the eyes of a lot of institutions to this. That's a really good thing. And it also is going to open the eyes of a lot of the public to this, because perhaps on some of these websites there's going to be little checkboxes where you can say, do you want to deposit cryptocurrency? Or you're going to go to your banker and the banker is going to say, would you like to deposit any Bitcoin today? It's going to provide a lot more exposure for the cryptocurrency space, and it's going to be a very good thing for adoption. Of course, this is only one stepping stone. The more states that adopt this, the more countries over the years that go this direction, the better and the better it's going to be. This isn't the end of the world. I mean, this isn't a good thing in the sense of the end of the world. This isn't the beginning of a new world or anything, but my point is that this is definitely an important stepping stone into the future of the cryptocurrency market. The shifting landscape of cryptocurrency, in part due to the ongoing bear market during which Bitcoin has entered its 6th month of price decline, is leaning more towards adoption and legitimization, which is absolutely right, and I completely agree with that. And the reason I completely agree with that is because as Bitcoin prices go down, the people that are still here are the ones that are the diehard cryptocurrency fans, which you probably are if you're watching this video, and you guys are the ones that are helping us to push cryptocurrency forward, because if everybody left the market, Bitcoin would be at zero and there'd be no interest from the market side on this, and it'd just be the developers working on the cryptocurrencies, and it'd be very hard to get it adopted. But because we're still here, and because we're still banking on Bitcoin, because we're still working on Bitcoin, because we still believe in this whole Bitcoin cryptocurrency blockchain revolution thing, there's still strength in the market that these different legislatures and these different institutional investors can build off of. Because if everybody left the market and Bitcoin wasn't worth anything, then we wouldn't be getting any of this adoption. So we're kind of the ones holding the line as the bears are trying to destroy Bitcoin right now. So hold your head high if you're still in the market for that reason. An effort which hinges upon increasing the regulatory atmosphere of cryptocurrencies. Others have continued their effort for Bitcoin to be legitimized in the eyes of Main Street as a I think they're trying to say Wall Street there as a real form of money. The Wyoming bill, which represents a substantial shift in tone towards cryptocurrencies relative to the treatment by most states, I'll talk about that in just a second, is a stepping stone for the industry, which as a whole to gain further acceptance, which is exactly what I was just talking about. I'm glad to see if they think the same. And the shift in tone towards cryptocurrencies relative to the treatment by most states is a really, really big deal. Because a lot of times what you see is that when you have technologies being adopted by different states, and they're being adopted on a state level rather than a federal level, then a lot of times what you see is that 1 or 2 states will adopt them. We kind of saw this with the legalization of marijuana in Colorado a couple of years ago. You see 1 or 2 states go ahead and adopt something or make something legal, and then every other state didn't want to do it themselves because they didn't know what the ramifications would be. But they kind of look on, and they look at it as an experiment. So Wyoming is going to become an experiment for the rest of the states, the rest of the 49 states in America, to look on and see how this goes. Because Wyoming is a test bed now. Wyoming has just declared itself a test dummy, a lab rat for cryptocurrency adoption. And all these other states are going to, I promise you, all the other legislators in America know that this happened. They might not be paying that close of attention, but they know it happened, and many of them probably are going to be paying attention. And if Wyoming can pull this off, many other states are probably going to do the same. If they can get banks to provide custodial services and it doesn't blow up in their face, if they can get people to start using cryptocurrency and it doesn't blow up in their face, this could be a big deal for other states to start going the same way. It could be kind of the first domino to fall in the adoption of cryptocurrency in the United States, which is a big, big deal. Anyway, for the majority of investors in the general public of cryptocurrency, Bitcoin and altcoins continue to be looked upon as either a deviant project or a failed investment vehicle. However, that image is largely in response to the reaction of falling prices, particularly when losses are now exceeding 80% from their all-time high value, but I would argue that's a good thing so that we can get more Bitcoin after the rest of the states go ahead and provide full adoption for Bitcoin. Anyway, let's go ahead and wrap this article up with the last paragraph here. I very much like what this has to say. Charles Hoskinson, the founder of Cardano, ADA, and a former co-founder of Ethereum, hit the nail on the head when he argued that cryptocurrency needed to mature as an industry over the next decade before worrying about a return to previous price levels. High market capitalization and return on investment are the byproduct of a well-developed and useful produce, not the FOMO-induced speculative investing that characterized most of the 2017 bull run. And Charles, I could not agree more. You are absolutely right. I do not want to see another major bull run happen in 2020, 2021 that is built nothing more than off of hype by the same manner that it was built off of in 2017. I don't want to see another 2017 happen because the prices were not able to be substantiated. And if they're not able to be substantiated, then we're going to see another massive decline in price action. And you think a lot of people got ostracized from cryptocurrency in 2017. Wait until Bitcoin goes on a FOMO-induced speculative investing round that runs Bitcoin to $100,000 and then crashes down to 10. That's going to really piss some people off, and a lot of people are not going to come back to crypto. So what I want to see, and what I am very happy to see in this article and many others that we've talked about, is that the cryptocurrency adoption, the cryptocurrency space, the industry is continuing to grow despite price action going down. And that goes back to that argument that I've had for so long. Bitcoin prices are going down, but the fundamentals are going up, guys. This discrepancy right here, you know what this is screaming? This is screaming patience. Have patience. You have to have patience. Warren Buffett once said, markets are a tool to transfer wealth from the impatient to the patient. That's at least attributed to Warren Buffett. That is more true than I can possibly explain to you. Cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, it's going to take some time for them to go back to $20,000. It's going to take some time for them to go to all-time high. It's going to take some time for them to be widespread and mainstream adopted. That's just how it works. But at the end of the day, it's all going to be worth it, because if you're still here, if you're watching this video 13 minutes and 51 seconds into it, and you are still in the cryptocurrency space 11 or like 13, 14 months after all-time high in 2017, then you know somewhere deep down that cryptocurrency is going to very high valuations. You know that, or you wouldn't still be here. You know that. All you got to do is have a little bit of patience, wait for the rest of the states to continue adopting cryptocurrency, wait for the rest of the public to get back on board, wait for things like BAC to come online, a Bitcoin ETF to come online, for many of the other countries of the world to start adopting cryptocurrencies, and it's going to be massive. The next decade, the 2020s, are going to be absolutely huge for the cryptocurrency market. I would literally bet money on that because I have money invested in Bitcoin. So I'm literally putting my money where my mouth is, and if you're watching this video, you are probably also doing the same. Anyway, guys, this is a very big piece of news for cryptocurrency, and I think the article even underplayed it a little bit. It's not like the biggest piece of news ever. It's not like a Bitcoin ETF being approved or anything, but this is a very big piece of news. I'm very happy to hear about this. If you guys are also, make sure you tell me in the comment section down below what you think of this piece of news. Do you think that this is a very big deal, and do you think that this is kind of a precedent-setting move by Wyoming to start allowing, or to start influencing other states to go the same way and start properly adopting Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies as a form of money? I'm very interested to hear your comments in the comment section down below, guys. If you enjoyed this video, definitely consider dropping a like and hitting that subscribe button. But for this video, that is going to be all. I do want to thank each and every single one of you for watching as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.